Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is the final day before the London, Ontario, Canada Bonsai Show. So I'm doing the final work on my trees, getting them ready for the show. It was supposed to be a nicer day today, but it's been raining on and off all morning, and it's quite cool outside, but it's supposed to clear up this afternoon, so hopefully I'll get some sunshine to do the final prep work on the trees. I left off yesterday's video with my red maple penjing, so I want to get this ready for the show. So I have to do a little cleanup work. I added this little thimble that Tom from Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors sent me. I thought it would be nice to have a little bucket beside the fisherman. I've got to do a little trimming of the moss, do a little cleanup of the sand here, and pick out a stand and maybe an accent plant for the show. Yeah, so I need to do a little cleanup work. I'm going to put the fish kind of halfway in the water, maybe. Like that. And then I'm going to top up this white sand and clean it up. So I will pick out any fallen leaves, any debris that's fallen down here. Then I'll add a fresh layer of the white sand to look like water. Just kind of dressing it up a bit. I think that looks good. I'll water that in so it levels it out. That's looking better. Now I wonder if I need like some moss to represent kind of water plants around the edges of the rock. I think that would make it look a little more realistic. So I've got a piece of moss here. I'll try placing some bits of it around and just see how it looks. It may work, it may not, I'm not sure. I think, you know, if I add this, it'll have to be just little pieces. Here and there. Something like that. That looks good. Maybe a little bit in here. Yeah, that's not a very good piece. See if I can get a better piece. There's a better piece. I'll just kind of suck that down in there. Like that. And maybe one back here. Just to kind of look like bulrushes or something. Maybe there. Yeah, that looks okay. Put this one in right here. Yeah, that breaks that shoreline up a bit so it's not quite so rocky looking. Now I have a stone over here, and compared to the other stones it's very white, and it's a bit distracting. I think I need to kind of replace it with a darker stone, so I'm going to take this stone out. It's the same kind of stone. Well, maybe, I don't know. It does look better when it's wet, but
It's always been a little distracting over there, and I wonder if I even need a stone there. Maybe I'll just replace it with moss. I think so. I don't think I need a stone there. I think it's just too distracting. Your eye should be focused over here, and that stone kind of leads your eye to the other side of the planting where there's nothing there. So I will plant some moss there. Like that, and I think that looks better. It's a little less distracting. So I'm just going around now cleaning up any soil that's showing. Don't think there's any weeds in here, but I'll check for it. Now I need to trim the moss around the edge of the pot here. It's overhanging the lip just a little bit, so I'm just going to come in and trim that up. Here is a look at the planting now. So it tells a bit of a story. Someone fishing under a maple grove. Now I have to find a stand to go underneath this planting. So it'll have to be kind of about this big. I'll look around and see what I have. I've got this stand that I got at the thrift store, and I think it would look good. I think I need to move the planting over. Maybe that's a little too far. Maybe there, and then put an accent plant beside it on the stand. So I'll look around for something to go over there. I tried a grass planting, but it's too large, so I'll look around for something smaller. I found a smaller grass planting, and I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, it kind of fills in the space on that table. So I think that's it. I think this planting is ready for the show. I added a small flat stone underneath the grass planting here, just to give it a more finished look. Yeah, so it's kind of exciting. These trees were grown from seed, and this is their first show ever. So it's exciting when a tree goes from a seed to a show. And they're not fantastic trees yet, but they do the job. They give the impression of a maple grove. The sun is coming out right on schedule today, so that's nice. So this planting's ready for the show. I still have to pick out some accent plants from my other two trees, so I'm going to set up the tables, put the trees on it, and just see what looks good with those. Here is my Dwarf Schefflera planting on the stand. So an accent plant for this, I would need something tropical. And I like my accent plants to have larger leaves than the leaves in the actual bonsai, because if you have an accent plant with really tiny leaves, it makes these leaves look bigger. If you have an accent plant with larger leaves, it makes these leaves look smaller. So I'm leaning towards, I have a rubber tree here. This is my Ficus elastica. Fairly large leaves, tropical. It's got a few aerial roots hanging out. That would look quite nice with it. I think that would be the accent plant. So I need a stand or something to go underneath here, so I'll look around and see what I have. I don't have a lot of choices in display stands. I have this round one that was also from the thrift store. It looks okay. It's a little fancy. I've got a fancy stand under here, and this stand is very plain and modern looking. So it doesn't really match style-wise. It's not the worst in the world, but I'll try some other things. All I've got now is just, you know, these round kind of pine pieces of wood. We'll see what that looks like. So I'll change it out. This one's kind of very red on top too. Yeah, so we'll try the round piece of pine. See how that looks. Well, that looks better. It looks a little more modern. It kind of matches the planting more. The color's a little light, but you know, the tabletop on this is quite light, so it's kind of somewhere in between. It looks okay. I'll try it with a rectangular one. So let's change it out. The round one would definitely work. It's, you know, a possibility. So there it is with the square one. The square one kind of ties it in with the Schefflera, but it's also kind of duplicates rectangle, rectangle. I think the round one looks better. So the round one it is, unless I find something better. I'm back to the round stand, and I think that works okay. I think it'll do for the show. The moss is starting to green up a bit, and hopefully we'll get sunshine today and it'll green up some more before the show. Yeah, it's the Schefflera looks okay. I think I have to find, I've got to get a better pot for it. I've got to find a stand that matches better. Yeah, there's a lot, you know. Someday I'd like to put this in the Toronto Bonsai Society's show, but I have a lot of work to do before then to get it looking really good. Matching the pot, the stand, the accent plants, everything. The best time to show this tree is in a fall show. So I defoliate it and prune it up about over a month before the show. So maybe 6 weeks before the show. You prune it all up, and then at showtime the new leaves are just coming in, and they're, you know, fairly tiny, sort of like this size, and it looks really magical for about a week or two, and then they grow larger again and it doesn't look so good. So yeah, someday that's my goal, is to show this at the Toronto show. I've got my Portulacaria afra forest out, so I want an accent plant to go with this, something that says Kenya or South Africa. So I could put a jade with it, but I don't want a jade that has similar leaves to the Portulacaria afra. So maybe a Gollum jade or something like that would look good. So I'll try out some possibilities, and I'll need a stand with it. This is a fairly tall stand, and I don't want like the accent plant sitting down on the table there. Something elevated would look quite nice. Here's a look at the planting with a jade beside it. So the jades are quite nice. They're in a plastic pot, but so is this one. It's in a mica pot. But I'm not sure. It's almost distracting. Maybe because this has more foliage than the trees themselves. So I think I need something that's a little sparser looking. Here it is with another jade. And again, it looks okay, but it doesn't look right. I think because this one's too tall compared to the trees. I think I need something that matches the scale of this planting more. That's going to be hard to find. Maybe grasses, I don't know. I'll try out some different plants. I tried the grasses and it looked all right. It wasn't perfect. And then I thought, well, maybe my aloe planting here. And it looks good. I like it. It's kind of the right size, scale value for the forest. So now I just need to find a stand to put it on. And that might be the hard part. I tried my rectangular tall stand here. I thought it would be too small, and it's certainly not too big. The pot just fits on the top of it, and I think that elevates it to a nice height. It kind of matches the Portulacaria afra forest, kind of ties the two together. So I think that's going to be it. I think I've got all the show trees ready. Yeah, I kind of like the aloes with it. So I'll keep that in mind for future shows. I can show it with the aloes and maybe find a slightly bigger stand. Yeah, I'm always on the lookout for stands and that, and you can never have too many until you have to store them somewhere, and they take up a lot of space, and you got to keep them dry. You can't put them under your bonsai benches, so they're a bit of a pain in the neck. But, you know, if you're into bonsai, you've got to find a place to store them. Outside here, there is a gopher eating. Oh, he just disappeared.
I've got my 3 trees ready for the London, Ontario show. It should be a lot of fun. So I'll load up the car tonight with all the trees, the stands, and the accent plants, and head off early tomorrow morning for London, Ontario. For the rest of the afternoon, I've got to get the truck cleaned up for the car show on Sunday. It's a busy weekend for me. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.